My name is Alexandra Harper, 32 years old, a senior marketing manager at a large agency in Seattle. My life revolves around deadlines, pitch decks, and Zoom meetings that drag on into the night. Seattle in December is always beautiful in a melancholy way. Light drizzle falling, biting cold air, Christmas lights twinkling along Pike Street, and the scent of freshly roasted coffee wafting from countless little shops everywhere. I had grown used to decorating a small Christmas tree in my one-bedroom apartment overlooking Elliott Bay by myself, buying gifts for myself, and cooking a turkey sandwich on Christmas Eve, because I knew, like every year, my family would go on their trip without me. This year, the message came on a Friday afternoon while I was sitting in my glass-walled office on the 32nd floor, holding a lukewarm latte. Ryan, my older brother by 2 years, already married with a son, texted, "No room at the Vail House this year, sis. Maybe next time." That was it. No apology, no explanation, not even an emoji to soften it. I stared at the phone screen until it went dark, then let out a dry laugh, a short, hollow sound that was more like a sigh. I knew next time would never come. For 15 years, every Christmas holiday, they had found a way to leave me behind. Sometimes it was, the rental only has 4 bedrooms. Sometimes, plane tickets are too expensive, maybe next year. Sometimes, the little ones need their own space. I had long ago learned to stop asking. Less than an hour later, my mom, Susan Harper, pushed a notification from Instagram to my phone. I knew I shouldn't open it, but my fingers tapped anyway. The photo appeared. The whole family gathered around a large stone fireplace in a luxurious rental house in Vail, Colorado. The orange jello glow of the fire reflected on everyone's radiant faces. Ryan sat in the center, arm around his wife Brooke. Lauren, my older sister by 4 years, leaned her head on her husband Jake's shoulder, grinning widely. Mom and Dad sat on either side, raising glasses of red wine. And taking up one entire end of the sofa was Bailey, the family's golden retriever, sprawling lazily, his big head resting on a pillow, as if he were the true centerpiece. The caption below, "Our perfect Christmas crew in the Rockies. Hashtag Harper Family Tradition. Hashtag Vail Vibes. Hashtag Blessed." I counted, 7 adults and 1 dog. The sofa clearly had room to spare. There was no real empty seat. Only I didn't exist in that picture. My heart felt like someone was squeezing it. Not a sudden pain, but an old, lingering ache that had been there for years and was now stirred up again. I remembered when I was 17, they went to Florida for Christmas combined with Ryan's 21st birthday. Mom said, "There are only 5 tickets. Stay home and watch the house, okay?" When I was 20, they flew to New York to see the Rockefeller tree while I ate instant noodles in my dorm. When I was 25, they went to Hawaii, sending back photos of everyone in floral shirts on Waikiki Beach. I had just lost my first job then, sitting alone in a cheap rental in Capitol Hill, watching snow fall outside the window. Each time I told myself, "It's fine, I'm grown up, I'm independent." But today, seeing Bailey taking up space on the sofa, I suddenly realized how much I had been lying to myself all these years. Independence doesn't mean accepting being pushed aside forever. I set the phone down on the desk and looked out the window. Seattle was sinking into a gray, misty rain, but far in the distance, the Olympic Mountains were still covered in white snow. I opened my laptop, logged into my bank account. Last week, the agency had wired my year-end bonus, $30,000 after tax, a reward for the most successful Black Friday campaign in company history. The money sat there quietly, as if waiting for me to do something crazy. I took a deep breath, opened the luxury vacation rental app. My fingers scrolled through listings in Aspen, Whistler, Banff, then stopped at Lake Tahoe. One cabin stood out, 5 bedrooms, modern timber and stone architecture, ski in, ski out right from the back, outdoor hot tub overlooking the frozen lakes sparkling under the lights, private chef, large fireplace, and personal fireworks service for New Year's Eve. The price for 8 nights over Christmas and New Year was so expensive I almost closed the tab, but I didn't. I thought about Mom's face in the Instagram photo, Lauren's smile as if she had never done anything wrong, Ryan's brief text. I thought about all the Christmases I had spent alone, wrapping gifts for myself, singing Silent Night in a cold apartment. Enough is enough. I clicked reserve now, entered my credit card info, and confirmed the booking before reason could pull me back. My heart pounded like I had just run a marathon. The screen showed the green message, booking confirmed. Welcome to your luxury holiday at the Ridge Estate, Lake Tahoe. I leaned back in my chair, looking at the phone screen still glowing with the family photo from Vail. This time, I didn't zoom in on the empty space. I turned the phone off, stood up, and grabbed my coat. This year, I would have a Christmas trip of my own. And I knew one thing for sure. When they found out, they would be shocked. I sat there in the office, the laptop screen still showing booking confirmed, but my mind had already drifted back to the past. It wasn't random that I had so easily accepted being excluded. It had started long ago, when I was a skinny teenage girl who always felt like the extra piece in the perfect family portrait my mom loved to show off on Facebook. Ryan was my older brother by 2 years, always the star of the house. Tall, handsome, good at football, decent grades, and most importantly, he was the only son. My dad, Richard, an engineer who retired early thanks to tech stocks, always bragged about Ryan to his friends. My boy's heading to University of Washington on a sports scholarship. Lauren, my sister 4 years older, was the perfect female version. Pretty, obedient, excellent student, played piano, and always agreed with everything Mom and Dad said. And me, Alexandra, messy curly hair, loved to draw, argumentative, and worst of all, I never agreed to wear the pink dress to Christmas morning church like Lauren. I clearly remember the first Christmas they left me behind. I was 16. The whole family was excited preparing for Florida. Miami beaches, Disney World, warm sunshine in winter. Mom sat in the kitchen wrapping gifts and announced, "The condo only has 3 bedrooms, honey. Ryan needs his own room to study. Lauren and I will share. Dad sleeps on the sofa. You stay home and watch Bailey. He's afraid of flying." I cried, but Mom just stroked my hair and said, "You're grown up now. Understand for the family, okay?" I stayed home for a week, eating frozen pizza, walking Bailey in the Seattle rain, and watching the New Year countdown on TV alone. The next year, they went to New York. That time, the excuse was, "Plane tickets are too expensive. We could only get 4. I watched them drive off to SeaTac Airport, Louis Vuitton suitcases packed in the trunk, Lauren waving happily through the window. I stood there holding my self-bought Christmas gift, a book about art that no one in the family understood why I liked it. I learned not to expect any more. Then Hawaii when I was 21, just starting college. The resort only has 2 suites, one for Mom and Dad, one for Ryan and Lauren, Mom explained over the phone. I heard ukulele music in the background and Ryan's laughter on the other end. I hung up, opened my laptop, and applied for another part-time job at a campus coffee shop. And so it went, year after year. Breckenridge skiing, Napa Valley wine tasting, even one year a Caribbean cruise during my finals week. Every time there was a reasonable-sounding excuse. Tight budget, no rooms left, the older kids need their own space, or simply, you're busy with school anyway. I stopped asking long ago. Instead, I threw myself into studying, working, saving every scholarship dollar and tip. I graduated from University of Washington with top honors in marketing, but on graduation day, the family seats were empty. They were on a cruise somewhere off the Bahamas with Ryan's family. Brooke was pregnant with Mason at the time. I remember standing on stage in my black cap and gown, looking down at the packed UW stadium full of flowers and applause, but no familiar faces for me. I told myself it was okay. I was used to it. Until Uncle Tom appeared in my life like a miracle. Uncle Tom is Dad's younger brother by 3 years, living in Portland, Oregon, just a 3-hour drive from Seattle. He's completely different from my dad. Laid back, funny, loves fixing old cars and grilling in the backyard. His wife, Aunt Karen, is an elementary school teacher, warm and always smiling. They have Sophie, a 10-year-old blonde girl with blue eyes who loves drawing and board games. I started seeing them more regularly when I was 20, driving down to Portland almost every weekend. No one formally invited me. Uncle Tom would just text, "BBQ this Saturday, bring an empty stomach." I'd show up, and for the first time, I felt like I truly belonged somewhere. Their backyard always smelled of charcoal and grilled meat. Uncle Tom wore an apron with an American flag print, flipping thick ribeye steaks, smoke rising everywhere. Aunt Karen made potato salad with homemade sauce, and Sophie dragged me out to play Monopoly or Clue until late. They never asked, "Why didn't your parents come?" or "How's your family?" They just said, "Glad you're here, Alex." Once Sophie asked, "Doesn't Alex have any siblings?" I smiled awkwardly, not knowing how to answer. Uncle Tom overheard, just patted his daughter's head and said, "Alex has us. That's enough." Those evenings in Portland became my healing medicine. We sat around a small fire pit, roasting marshmallows, telling ghost stories, listening to Uncle Tom talk about his youth, riding across California on an old Harley. Aunt Karen taught me how to make the perfect apple pie. Thin, crispy crust, tart sweet apple filling with cinnamon. Sophie always begged me to read bedtime stories, and I did, my voice softening as her eyes slowly closed. I started looking forward to weekends more than Christmas. Portland wasn't far from Seattle, but the emotional distance felt like two different worlds. There, I didn't have to be perfect, didn't have to prove anything. I just had to be myself. And now, sitting in my 32nd floor office overlooking the misty Elliott Bay, I realized that all these years, I had already had a real family. I just hadn't invited them on vacation with me yet. I picked up my phone, opened messages, found Uncle Tom's name. My fingers lightly typed. "Uncle Tom, clear your schedule for Christmas week. I've got something big planned. Trust me." I hit send, heart racing. This time, I wouldn't go alone anymore. Those weekends in Portland had become the only bright spot in my life back then. Every Friday, after finishing my shift at the campus coffee shop, I'd throw my backpack into the car, a beat-up silver Honda Civic, and drive straight south on I-5. 3 hours through the misty Oregon pine forests, over the Tacoma Narrows Bridge, and I was there. No need to call ahead, no reason required. Uncle Tom would just text one short line: "Steak tonight. Don't eat anything heavy." Their house was in the Portland suburbs, a 2-story craftsman wooden home with a big backyard and white picket fence. Every time I parked out front, Sophie would already run out, blonde hair and pigtails, hugging my legs tight as if afraid I'd disappear. "Alex is here! Play Uno with me!" Aunt Karen stood on the porch, wiping her hands on her apron, smiling warmly. "Come in, honey. Iced lemonade's ready in the fridge." Uncle Tom was always in the backyard by the old Weber grill. He wore a faded t-shirt, backward baseball cap, tongs in hand, flipping thick ribeye steaks. The smell of charcoal mixed with garlic butter filled the air, blending with the pine scent from the nearby woods. "Alex, give your uncle a hand," he'd call out in his booming voice. I'd roll up my sleeves, stand beside him, learning how to tell when a steak was perfectly medium rare. Seared outside, pink inside, juices still running when cut. Dinner was always a small feast. Aunt Karen made potato salad with homemade mayonnaise, green onions, and crispy bacon. Sophie helped carry plates, chattering nonstop about school. Today she drew a unicorn for her teacher. Tomorrow she won the spelling bee. We sat around the wooden table in the backyard under warm yellow string lights, eating, laughing until dark. After dinner, Uncle Tom brought out folding chairs and a small fire pit. We roasted marshmallows, sandwiched them between graham crackers and Hershey's chocolate into s'mores, the chocolate melting, marshmallows stretching long. Sophie always dropped one into the fire on purpose, then giggled when Uncle Tom pretended to rescue it with a stick. Aunt Karen was the one who taught me my first Christmas apple pie. She said, "A good pie needs a thin, crispy crust and tart sweet filling just right." We stood in the warm kitchen, cinnamon and butter scents filling the air. She guided me in rolling the dough thin, layering Granny Smith apple slices, sprinkling brown sugar, and a secret pinch of nutmeg. Sophie sat on a high stool, quality control by stealing apple slices. When the pie came out golden, steam rising, the whole family clapped like I just won a Nobel Prize. Those moments made me understand what real family felt like. No need to be perfect, no need for reasons, just being there. The day I graduated from University of Washington, Seattle was pouring rain. I stood in line in my black gown, eyes scanning the packed Husky Stadium. No mom or dad, no Ryan or Lauren. They were on a Caribbean cruise, celebrating 30 years married, combined with early summer vacation with Ryan's family. I knew in advance, so I no longer hoped. Then I heard a loud shout from the middle rows. "Alexandra Harper! That's our girl!" I turned, and there was Uncle Tom, standing up, waving wildly in a bright yellow raincoat, beside Aunt Karen holding the biggest bouquet of sunflowers I'd ever seen, my favorite flower since childhood. Sophie bounced up and down, holding a hand-painted sign, "Congrats, Big Sis Alex, class of 2015. They had driven 3 hours from Portland in the rain just to be there. When my name was called, Uncle Tom clapped the loudest, whistling shrilly. He hugged me so tight I could hear his heart pounding. Aunt Karen cried, mascara running slightly, pressing the flowers into my hands. Sophie stuffed a homemade star-decorated cupcake into my gown pocket. We took photos in the rain, laughing until soaked. After the ceremony, they took me to an old diner near campus. Thick chocolate milkshakes, melty cheeseburgers, crispy fries. Uncle Tom raised his soda glass. "To Alex, the smartest, toughest, kindest kid we know." He didn't ask a single question about my Karens. No need. He just said, "We're so proud of you, Alex. Always have been, always will be." I ate the cupcake Sophie made, chocolate sweet on my tongue, and for the first time felt truly seen. Not as an extra member, but as an important part of a family, even if not by blood. From then on, Portland wasn't just a weekend escape. It was home. And Uncle Tom, Aunt Karen, Sophie, they were my real family. Now, having booked the cabin near Lake Tahoe, I just wanted to give them a bit of the magic they had given me all these years. This time, I would be the one creating the most memorable Christmas. After clicking reserve, I sat frozen for a few minutes, staring at the confirmation as if it might disappear. The $30,000 bonus wired last week had now become 8 nights at the Ridge Estate, a luxury cabin in South Lake Tahoe I only dared dream about while browsing Airbnb on sad nights. 5 main bedrooms, stone fireplace reaching the ceiling, outdoor hot tub overlooking the frozen lake sparkling, direct ski-in, ski-out from the back door, and private fireworks for New Year's Eve. Private chef serving Christmas turkey dinner and New Year's prime rib. The price almost made me faint, but this time I didn't hesitate. I deserved it. And more importantly, they, Uncle Tom, Aunt Karen, and Sophie, deserved it too. I wasn't planning to go alone anymore. The thought hit me right after paying the deposit. All these years they had given me a place to belong. Now it was my turn to give back. I picked up my phone, opened messages with Uncle Tom. Fingers hesitated a few seconds, then typed, "Uncle Tom, clear your schedule for Christmas week. I've got something big planned. Trust me. No questions for now." I hit send, heart pounding. 3 dots appeared immediately. Question mark? Question mark? Question mark? Then a video call rang. I answered. Uncle Tom's face appeared. He was in the garage, hands oily, background his old Ford pickup he loved tinkering with on weekends. "Alex, what did you just text? Christmas week? You know I don't go far during the holidays." He laughed loudly, but his eyes sparkled. I took a deep breath. "Just clear it first. I've booked it. Lake Tahoe. Gorgeous cabin. First-class tickets. I've got everything covered." He was silent 2 seconds, the longest silence I'd ever heard from Uncle Tom. Then he shouted, "Karen! Sophie! Get over here quick!" Footsteps rushed. Aunt Karen appeared, hair tied high, wiping hands on a kitchen towel. Sophie squeezed into frame, eyes wide. I explained briefly. 5-bedroom cabin, private chef, skiing right outside, fireworks on New Year's. I sent the listing link. They opened it together. Aunt Karen burst into tears immediately. Not sobbing, but quiet tears as she scrolled through photos. Large quartz island kitchen, master with private fireplace, bunk room for Sophie like a treehouse, deck overlooking winter jade Lake Tahoe. "Oh my God, Alex, this is too much," she stammered. Sophie screamed, "Hot tub! Skiing! First class? Alex, do I get a lie flat seat? Is there lobster? Movies on the plane?" She bounced so hard the camera shook. Uncle Tom just smiled, eyes red. He wiped like garage dust got in. "Kiddo, are you sure? This is expensive." "I'm sure," I said. "Big bonus this year, and I want to spend it on my real family." He said nothing more, just nodded, gave a thumbs up to the camera. The next week was the most joyful whirlwind of preparation I'd ever experienced. I booked first class from Portland to Reno, the closest airport to Tahoe. Sophie video called every night to check progress. The first time she saw the 18-degree lie-flat seat on the airline site, she screamed like she'd won the lottery. "I'll sleep the whole flight and free ice cream." Aunt Karen texted a packing list: hand-knitted Christmas sweaters, ingredients for apple pie, don't trust stranger chefs, and special edition Monopoly for late nights. She asked if she should bring extra blankets. What if the cabin's cold? I laughed, told her it had underfloor heating and gas fireplaces everywhere, but she packed 2 wool blankets anyway. Uncle Tom handled practical stuff, checked Tahoe weather, thick snow, perfect for skiing, asked about tire chains on the rental car, and quietly booked a private ski lesson for Sophie because the kids never skied a big resort. I added services: limo pickup from Reno Airport to cabin, fully stocked Napa wine fridge, and an 8-foot real Christmas tree pre-decorated on arrival. I even hired a professional family photographer to capture the week, something my birth family had never done once. Every night at home, I opened the listing to admire, imagining Uncle Tom on the deck with hot cocoa, looking at the moonlit frozen lake, Aunt Karen by the fireplace knitting, Sophie flying down the slope laughing, and me finally having a real Christmas. I told no one in my birth family, not a word. They were in Vail, probably posting photos by the resort tree with #FamilyFirst. Let them think I was home alone again like always, while I prepared the biggest gift of my life for the people who deserved it most. The departure day neared. Sophie sent me a drawing. 4 stick figures holding hands in front of a big wooden house, sky full of fireworks. At the bottom, she scribbled, "Best Christmas ever with my real family." I printed it, stuck it on my Seattle apartment fridge, and smiled. This time, there would be no empty chairs. Departure day fell on the morning of December 23rd. Seattle, cold but dry, rare for Northwest winter. I drove down to Portland early to pick up Uncle Tom's family. Sophie was already waiting outside, small suitcase dragging on the thin snowpath, eyes shining like Christmas lights. Aunt Karen hugged me tight, familiar vanilla scent almost making me cry. Uncle Tom loaded all luggage into the rented SUV trunk, patted my shoulder. "Let's make this the best Christmas yet, kiddo." We flew from Portland direct to Reno. A short flight, but enough for Sophie's first-class experience. Stepping onto the Delta plane, she stopped in the aisle, mouth open at the wide leather seats, large personal screens, neatly folded blankets and pillows. "Alex, these really lie flat? I can sleep like at home?" Flight attendants brought hot towels and fresh orange juice. Sophie pressed the towel to her face, giggling, "It's steaming!" The meal menu blew everyone away. Sophie flipped through it, eyes round at lobster thermidor next to steak and pasta. "Lobster is lobster, right? Can I eat it?" Aunt Karen laughed. Uncle Tom ordered extras for the table. When the lobster plates arrived, sweet white meat, creamy sauce, Sophie carefully took her first bite, closed her eyes savoring, then declared, "This is the best food in the world!" I sat across, watching her, watching Aunt Karen snapping photos nonstop, watching Uncle Tom raise his plastic champagne glass and toast, and for the first time felt my heart truly warm. A sleek black limo waited at Reno Airport. Driver held a sign, "Harper Family." Sophie squealed and ran to it. The drive up to Lake Tahoe wound through snow-covered pine forests, air biting cold, but the car warm. Sophie nose pressed to the glass, watching scenery. When the cabin appeared at the end of the private drive, massive timber and stone house, snow-covered sloped roof, light smoke from the chimney. The whole family fell silent for a few seconds. The door opened, scent of fresh pine and firewood rushed in. Private Chef Marco, tall guy with man bun, greeted with trays of hot mulled wine. Sophie ran straight to the back deck, screaming at the bubbling outdoor hot tub, steam rising into falling snowflakes. Lake Tahoe spread below, frozen surface sparkling in afternoon sun. Distant Sierra Nevada white as far as the eye could see. Uncle Tom stood beside me, hand on my shoulder. Alex, this is unreal. The days that followed passed like a dream. Early mornings, we skied right from the back door, true ski in, ski out. Sophie learned astonishingly fast, from bunny slopes to blue runs in 2 days. Uncle Tom and I raced down hills, wind whistling, snow spraying under skis. Aunt Karen preferred riding the gondola for views, holding hot cocoa, taking endless photos. Midday, Marco prepared slopeside picnics, baked brie, crusty baguette, fresh fruit. Afternoons back at the cabin, we all piled into the hot tub. Thick snow falling around us, steam fogging everything. Sophie floating on a reindeer floaty telling non-stop school stories. Uncle Tom retold old stories of skiing Mount Hood in his youth. Aunt Karen leaning on her husband's shoulder, eyes closed, relaxing. I sat there, head tilted back, watching gray silver sky, snowflakes melting on my hair, and for the first time, no longer felt lonely. Christmas Eve was the pinnacle. Marco set the long table by the massive stone fireplace. Golden roasted turkey, cornbread sage stuffing, honey-glazed sweet potatoes, homemade cranberry sauce. The 8-foot tree sparkled with lights and ornaments we'd hung that morning. Sophie wore the Christmas sweater Aunt Karen knitted. Santa had on, singing jingle bells off-key throughout dinner. We opened gifts under the tree. I gave Sophie new skis, Uncle Tom an engraved watch, Aunt Karen a spa day after the holidays. They gave me a handmade photo album, hundreds of pictures from Portland weekends, graduation to now, cover engraved to Alex, our daughter, our sister, our family. After dinner, we went to the backyard fire pit despite falling snow. Marco brought out s'more supplies, big marshmallows, Ghirardelli chocolate, graham crackers. Sophie purposely charred her marshmallows, sandwiched overflowing melted chocolate, face sticky. Uncle Tom told funny Christmas ghost stories. Aunt Karen sang along to holiday radio. We played board games late. Monopoly, where Sophie dominated by buying all green properties. Uno, where Uncle Tom drew extra cocoa penalties 3 times. Late that night, when Sophie was asleep in the treehouse-style bunk room, I sat with Uncle Tom and Aunt Karen by the fireplace. Fire crackling, red wine warm. Aunt Karen held my hand. "You have no idea what this means to us, Alex." Uncle Tom nodded. "You've given us a Christmas we'll talk about forever." I looked at them, eyes stinging. This is what real family feels like. No drama, no conditions, just love. They hugged me, and I knew this was what I had craved all these years. Not money or luxury cabin, but the feeling of belonging, being valued, being loved unconditionally. The next days still had snow, still had laughter, still had moments I would carry forever. And I knew, whatever my birth family was doing in Vail, they would never understand this true joy. We were on day 3 at Lake Tahoe, morning heavy snow. Sophie just tumbled into a soft snowbank after her first blue run attempt, giggling nonstop. I sat on the chairlift, phone buzzing nonstop in my jacket pocket. At first I thought low battery or weather alert, but pulling it out, the screen lit up with endless TikTok notifications, an app I rarely opened. A video from Mason's account, my nephew, Ryan's 16-year-old son, was being tagged and shared wildly. I hit play, heart suddenly tight. The video opened with the lavish Christmas dinner table in the Vail rental, red tablecloth, twinkling candles, perfectly sliced turkey platter. My mom, Susan, scooping gravy. My dad raising a wine glass, laughing. Ryan and Brooke on one side, Lauren and Jake on the other. Bailey under the table, tail wagging lightly. The camera slowly panned across each glowing face, then stopped on an empty chair at the end, pillow neatly placed, cutlery arranged as if waiting. White text overlay on sad violin music. Missing one this year. Guess who bailed for a solo trip? Mason whispered off camera. Family Christmas in Vail, but one seat will stay empty forever. Cut to black with hashtags, family drama, missing sister, guess who? I watched again, hands ice cold despite gloves. View count rising fast, 500K, 800K, 1.2 million in hours. Comments flooded. This is so sad. Who's the sister? Spill the tea. Empty chair vibes hitting hard. I scrolled to the top pinned comment. Ryan, at Ryan Harper CO, wrote, "Some people just prefer attention over actual family time." Hundreds of likes from his friends. Lauren commented below, "Always the victim card." We invited her years ago, but drama queens gonna drama. Liked and prayer emoji reply from mom. I turned off the screen, breathing fast. Sophie skied up, cheeks red. "Alex, one more run." I forced a smile, pocketed the phone, but the rest of the morning, my mind spun. That evening back at the cabin, Marco served dinner, slow-roasted prime rib, herb butter mashed potatoes, but I barely tasted it. Phone kept buzzing. 27 missed calls from Ryan, 15 from Mom, even a few from Dad's rarely used number. I listened to one voicemail from Ryan, voice harsh over background Christmas music. "Alex, seriously? You're out there splashing cash on some fancy solo trip while we're here as a family. Mason's video is blowing up because of you. Take it down or explain yourself. This is embarrassing." No greeting, no Merry Christmas, just blame. Next from Lauren, fake sweet tone. "Sweetie, I'm just worried about you. Everyone's asking questions. Call back. Let's talk like adults." I deleted all, but then a company email pinged from an unfamiliar HR address, forwarding a long email from Lauren. Subject, concern regarding employee conduct, Alexandra Harper. I opened it, hands slightly shaking. Email sent directly to my HR manager, CC'd head of HR, 3 pages with old photo attachments. Lauren wrote in fake professional tone, "I am writing as a concerned family member regarding ongoing patterns of behavior from my sister, Alexandra Harper, that may impact workplace professionalism." She listed bullet points, twisting every childhood memory. At age 6, Alexandra repeatedly refused to share toys during family gatherings, causing distress to younger cousins. Age 10, refused to participate in family photos unless she was center, leading to multiple ruined holidays. Teen years, consistent exclusionary behavior towards sibling Ryan, including sabotaging his birthday parties by dramatic outbursts. Each point attached scanned old photos, me crying at a birthday because forced into a pink dress, me sitting alone because I didn't like Ryan's chosen game, all twisted into evidence I was a difficult child from early on, and now publicly portraying the family negatively on social media, though I hadn't posted anything. Ending, we have attempted inclusion multiple times, but met with resistance. This recent public slight via viral content has caused significant emotional distress. I hope this can be addressed internally to prevent workplace impact. Auto reply from HR. Thank you for your concern. This will be reviewed. I sat frozen by the cabin fireplace, flames crackling while my heart felt ice cold. Uncle Tom walked in, saw my face, sat down immediately. "What's wrong, kiddo?" I handed him the phone. He skimmed the video description, comments, then His face darkened, but voice stayed calm. "They're scared, Alex. Scared because you're finally living without needing their approval." Aunt Karen hugged me from behind. "You don't have to respond to any of it. This is our week." But the phone rang again, a video call from Mom. I declined. Ryan texted, "Wow, ghosting the whole family now? Real mature." Lauren texted privately, "HR already knows. Better call before this gets worse." I turned the phone completely off, tossed it in a drawer. That night, we still sat around the backyard fire pit as planned, snow falling lightly on our shoulders. Sophie roasted s'mores, singing along to the Christmas playlist. I tried to smile, but Uncle Tom noticed. He raised his hot cocoa mug. To the family that shows up, no matter what. I clinked, eyes stinging. This was my real family.
While the other side used every way to drag me back into the old play, where I was always the villain. But this time, I wasn't acting anymore. Mason's video hit 2 million views before dawn. Comments still flooded, strangers picking sides, distant relatives tagging each other. I stopped reading. I only knew one thing. They had chosen drama over facing the truth that I no longer needed them. And this dream week, with Sophie's laughter, Aunt Karen's embrace, Uncle Tom's steady presence, was my true Christmas. After the dream vacation in Lake Tahoe, I returned to Seattle in early New Year with luggage full of beautiful memories and a new resolve, not to let drama from my birth family drag me down anymore. Mason's video had passed 2 million views, comments still boiling, but I kept my phone on airplane mode most of the time.
I focused on work. On the photo album the photographer sent, Sophie grinning on skis, Uncle Tom raising a glass by the fireplace, Aunt Karen hugging me under New Year's fireworks. But they wouldn't leave me alone. My first day back at work, January 2, I stepped out of the elevator on the 32nd floor with hot coffee in hand. The office still had holiday air, some Christmas lights not taken down, colleagues wishing Happy New Year. I hadn't reached my desk when the receptionist called internally. "Alex, someone's looking for you in the lobby downstairs. He says he's your dad." I froze. My dad, Richard Harper, rarely came to Seattle, never to my office without notice. I went down, heart racing. He stood there in a gray wool coat, holding a large red envelope, face stern like waiting for a board meeting. The marble lobby wide, employees coming and going, some glancing over.
"What are you doing here, Dad?" I asked directly, voice low but firm. He held up the envelope. "We need to talk about the video, about the email Lauren sent your company HR, about everything you're doing to the family." I looked at the envelope, a late Christmas card template, surely pre-signed by everyone. "Dad, this is my workplace." He ignored it, voice louder. "You've embarrassed the whole family in front of millions. Ryan can't sleep because his bonus was indirectly affected. Lauren has clients asking questions. You need to apologize publicly. Post online, sign this." He opened the envelope, handed printed paper. "Apology from Alexandra Harper to the family for causing misunderstanding during the holidays." I skimmed, content repeating Lauren's bullet points. I was difficult, dramatic. Family had tried to be tolerant, but I chose to go alone. I looked at him, voice calm. "I'm not signing." He raised his voice. "You're destroying the family. Your mom's been crying. Think about Ryan, about Mason." Receptionist Jenna nearby had picked up the phone, calling security. 2 guards appeared quickly. "Sir, please step outside if you don't have an appointment." Dad didn't budge. "This is family business between father and daughter." I shook my head, tore the paper in half, let pieces fall into the trash. Nothing more to say. He flushed, followed me to the elevator. "You'll regret this." The doors closed on his face, his voice echoing down the hall. Upstairs, colleagues whispered. Someone had filmed a short clip from the mezzanine and posted on X. HR emailed that afternoon. "If any further unwanted contact, report immediately. We support you." But the drama didn't stop. Late afternoon, I got a call from Ryan. This time I answered, wanted to end it clearly. "Alex, you've gone too far," he started without greeting. "Mason's video was just a joke. Now the whole world thinks we're monsters. Lauren can't sleep because of HR response." I breathed deep, voice calm. "You want to talk? Fine. Listen to the real history." I listed slowly, no raised voice. Year I was 16, Florida beaches. Mom said only 5 tickets. Year 18, New York City lights. Budget tight, stay home, watch the dog. Year 21, Hawaii, resort no rooms. Year 25, Caribbean cruise, right during my finals and graduation week. Year 28, Napa Valley, couples only. I continued, dates clear, no trip missed. Ryan interrupted midway. "That's ancient history. You still holding on to it?" "Yes, Ryan.
15 years of exclusion isn't ancient history. It's a pattern. And now you want me to apologize for finally choosing my own happiness? Long silence on the line. Then he hung up. Lauren texted right after, "You're making everything worse. Call me. Let's Zoom like adults." I replied short, "No need. I'm busy living the life I choose." I blocked the whole family. That night, I called Uncle Tom and told him everything. He just listened, then said, "I'm coming up to Seattle tomorrow morning, not leaving you to face this alone." Next morning, Uncle Tom appeared in the company lobby, wearing old Carhartt jacket, knit cap, carrying toolbox and rolled sleeping bag. He flashed the visitor badge Jenna gave, laughed loud, "Here to visit my niece." He came up, sat on the waiting area sofa near my desk, perfect view of elevators and entrances. Colleagues curious, but he chatted cheerfully about car repairs, weather, even offered coffee from the machine to a few. Lunch break, he ate lasagna Aunt Karen packed from home. Afternoon, he stayed reading an old newspaper he brought. When the office emptied at 5, he unrolled the sleeping bag on the sofa. "Night shift starts." I protested. "You don't have to." He smiled. "I've slept in colder garages. Let me watch so you work in peace." That night, I stayed late finishing a pitch deck. Uncle Tom dozed on the sofa, but eyes opened at every elevator ding. Midnight, Dad texted from unknown number. Saw Uncle Tom. Ridiculous. This isn't over. I showed Uncle Tom. He just nodded. Let him try. Next morning, Dad didn't appear. HR closed the case. Uncle Tom folded the bag, patted my shoulder. Shift over, heading back to Portland. Remember, you're not alone. I hugged him tight. From then on, I rejected every make-peace attempt. Messages Mom sent through distant relatives, Lauren's family reunion invites, even a late Christmas postcard from Ryan. I didn't reply. No need to explain anymore. I focused on the present. Tahoe photo album on office wall, daily texts from Sophie, weekends driving to Portland for steak grilling. I had built solid boundaries, and for the first time, I stood on the side of true happiness. After the heavenly week in Lake Tahoe, we didn't rush back to Seattle. I suggested extending the vacation a few more days at Uncle Tom's house in Portland, the place I always considered real home. Uncle Tom laughed loud over the phone. "No need to ask. My door's always open for you." So we drove from Reno down to Portland, through snow-covered Oregon pine roads, radio playing classic Christmas songs nonstop. Sophie dozed in the back seat, head on my shoulder, still mumbling about the most beautiful fireworks ever. Uncle Tom's house welcomed us with the smell of freshly baked gingerbread cookies and crackling fireplace. Aunt Karen had prepared rooms, clean sheets, dried flowers on nightstands, and small gift baskets by each bed, Ghirardelli chocolate, hand-knit socks, and handwritten notes, "Welcome home." I stood at my usual room door, the small second-floor room I always slept in on weekend visits, and for the first time, truly felt home after a vacation. Official Christmas Eve fell the day we arrived in Portland. Light snow fell outside the window, blanketing the backyard white. Uncle Tom wore a funny apron with a Jim Buff Santa print, standing by the outdoor grill flipping a massive prime rib, perfect seared crust, herb and smoke scent everywhere. He declared, "Today, we celebrate big, not ordinary Christmas, but our family's Christmas." Aunt Karen and Sophie had turned the kitchen into a gingerbread house workshop, the table covered in flour, powdered sugar, M&Ms, and colorful icing tubes. Sophie pulled me down immediately. "Alex has to make the roof. I'll do windows." We rolled out ginger cinnamon dough fragrant with spice and molasses, cut shapes with templates, baked until golden crisp. Sophie carefully attached candy to walls, making a whole garden with gummy candies and pretzel fences. Aunt Karen guided snow by sifting powdered sugar through a sieve. When the house was done, slightly crooked because Sophie pressed too hard, we all clapped, took photos, and placed it center table as main decoration. Dinner was a true feast. Prime ribs sliced perfectly pink, juices running at the touch of a knife. With herb butter mashed potatoes, garlic sautéed green beans, and fresh cranberry salad. We sat around the old wooden table, warm yellow string lights hung around the living room. Sophie wore her Aunt Karen knitted Christmas sweater, paper crown from Christmas crackers, singing, "We wish you a Merry Christmas," off-key but enthusiastic. Uncle Tom raised sparkling cider glasses for Sophie and red wine for adults. To our family, the one we choose, the one that chooses us back. After dinner, we bundled up, pulled sleds from the garage. The small hill behind the house, Sophie's usual playground, was now perfect thick snow. Moon hung bright in the clear sky, silver light shining on sparkling snow. Sophie went first on the sled, screaming delight as she shot down, snow spraying. I pushed Aunt Karen, then Uncle Tom pushed me. We raced who went farthest.
Laughter echoed in the cold night, breath turning to white clouds. When tired, we lay back in the snow, watching stars and telling stories. Sophie pointed up. "That's the reindeer constellation." Uncle Tom pretended to agree. Aunt Karen hugged me from the side, whispering, "This is what real Christmas feels like." Back inside, faces red from cold, we sat around the fireplace drinking hot cocoa with melting marshmallows. My phone buzzed a few times in my pocket. I glanced. Facebook notification from Mom. I opened, though I knew I shouldn't. Mom's post. Old photo from last year in Vail. Everyone beaming. I wasn't there. Long caption. Some children trade blood ties for bonus checks and fancy vacations. Grateful for the loyal ones who choose family over everything. Blessed with the best kids and grandkids.
Oh, family first, Harper Christmas. Below, tons of likes from Mom's friends, distant relatives, comments from Lauren. "So true, Mom. Love you." Ryan added heart and prayer emojis. I read it, heart stung briefly. But then Sophie tugged my hand. "Alex, play Monopoly. I want to be banker." I turned the phone completely off, tossed it in the basket by the door. No more buzzing, no notifications, no drama. We played Monopoly late. Sophie dominated again, buying all green properties. Uncle Tom bankrupt first with dramatic groans. Aunt Karen made more cocoa with whipped cream. Near midnight, we moved to early New Year's countdown because Sophie couldn't stay up to real midnight. 11:55. Uncle Tom dimmed lights, leaving only fireplace glow and Christmas string lights. Sophie held homemade party poppers, eyes shining. We counted down from 10, Sophie's voice loudest. 10, 9, 8. At 0, she yanked the string. Gold and silver confetti exploded everywhere, sticking to hair, sweaters. We hugged, laughing loud. Uncle Tom triggered small backyard fireworks, bursts of green and red blooming against black sky, reflecting through windows. Aunt Karen hugged me tight. "Welcome to the real celebration, honey." Uncle Tom raised his glass again. "To the family we build, stronger than any blood." Sophie yawned big, but still begged a sip for my cider. She grimaced at the fizz, then grinned. We stepped onto the porch, watching distant neighbor fireworks, booms echoing softly. Uncle Tom's arm over my shoulder, solid as always. Back inside, Sophie passed out on the sofa, paper crown crooked. Uncle Tom carried her to bed. Aunt Karen cleaned quietly, humming Silent Night. I helped wipe the table, stack plates. Aunt Karen hip-bumped me. "Stay as long as you need, honey." I nodded, throat tight. 2 a.m., Uncle Tom stoked the fire one last time. We sat on the rug, low flames warm, confetti glittering on the carpet like fallen stars. He said softly, "Your mom's post will fade, but what we have tonight will last forever." I leaned against the sofa, sweet exhaustion settling. Sophie murmured in her sleep about sled races. The house breathed steady around us. Morning light filtered weakly through curtains. Uncle Tom started coffee, aroma pulling me awake. Sophie demanded star-shaped pancakes. We ate around the confetti-littered table, reclaimed paper crowns. Mom's post probably gained dozens more comments overnight, but it didn't matter. Our plates were full, laughter louder. Uncle Tom refilled my mug. "New Year starts here." I smiled, a real smile for the first time in years. The family I chose filled every corner of the room, and this time there were no empty chairs. Spring came to Seattle with gentle drizzle and cherry blossoms blooming along the office route. Mason's video had passed 3 million views, reposted by big drama accounts analyzing every empty chair frame. Consequences spread faster than I expected. First, Ryan. In March, he had his quarterly review at his sales company in Denver. During the meeting, his boss showed slides on professionalism and company image, then forwarded Mason's own TikTok, reposted by a junior colleague on internal Slack. Ryan's sales dipped slightly due to distraction from public family matter. Quarterly bonus cut 50%. He texted me a screenshot of the warning email. Maintain professional image expected. I read, no reply. Let it be. Lauren took a heavier hit. She freelanced marketing for a major national retail chain. When contract renewal came, the client Googled her name and found long Reddit threads with hundreds of comments dissecting the drama, including leaked screenshots of her concern email to my HR. Client pulled the campaign, citing brand alignment concerns. Lauren called crying, blaming me for ruining her career. I listened 30 seconds, then hung up gently. Meanwhile, my career soared like never before. Same week, HR called me into the glass meeting room overlooking the bay. Head of HR slid the offer letter across. Creative Director, Marketing. 35% raise, higher bonus, and corner office on the top floor with direct Space Needle view sparkling. I signed immediately, no negotiation. Ink barely dry when the whole team dragged me to rooftop happy hour nearby. Champagne in plastic cups, glittery edible cake, laughter ringing. I moved into the new office Monday morning, hung 3 things right away. First-class boarding pass from the Tahoe flight, dried sunflower bouquet from graduation, and the largest photo, 4 of us hugging under New Year's fireworks at the cabin, Sophie throwing a V sign, Uncle Tom grinning wide, Aunt Karen kissing my cheek. New clients flooded from old campaign referrals. Year revenue forecast doubled. Distant relatives started picking sides. Aunts and uncles on mom's side texted privately, "Proud of you, Alex. You deserve every bit." One cousin unfollowed Mom and Lauren on Facebook after reading comment threads. Mom gradually unfriended half her friend list. People who once liked her shade posts, now silent, or openly supporting me with stories, "So happy for my niece's promotion." In May, Uncle Tom hosted a promotion celebration barbecue in the Portland backyard. He sent handwritten invites. No suits, bring appetite. I drove down early, bringing expensive Napa wine and a huge sheet cake from Seattle's best bakery. White icing, blue lettering. Director level unlocked, Alex Harper. Backyard glowed with string lights, charcoal and grilled meat scent everywhere. Sophie, in tiny apron, proudly grilled sweet corn. Aunt Karen made potato salad and double apple pie. 1 to eat today, 1 to take home. Uncle Tom flipped ribeye and smoked salmon, laughing loud as guests arrived. Some old colleagues from Seattle drove down, Uncle Tom's neighbors, even a group of college friends I hadn't seen in years. We ate around long tables, pieced from 3 wooden ones. Laughter nonstop, stories endless. Sophie dragged me to play cornhole. Uncle Tom retold the time I first grilled steak and charred it black. No one mentioned veil, no one mentioned empty chairs. Only sincere congratulations, clinking beer bottles, sticky sweet cake. Sunset fell, string lights glowed warm yellow. I stood in the middle of the yard, watching everyone gathered, no longer feeling extra. Uncle Tom came over, 2 beer bottles in hand. "Look around, kiddo. No empty chairs tonight." I looked. Plates full, seats full, laughter filling the air. Sophie running around with barbecue sauce on her cheeks. Aunt Karen snapping photos with her old camera. Yes, no empty chairs anymore. I raised my bottle, clinked with Uncle Tom. "To chosen family." He smiled, eyes glistening. "And to you, the one who made it all possible." That night, driving back to Seattle, I rolled down the window, letting cool spring wind blow in. Radio played a gentle old song. I thought about the journey from the girl who once spent Christmas Eve alone to the woman now with a Space Needle View office and a real family waiting in Portland. Consequences? Yes, but only for those who chose to hurt others instead of love. And I had chosen right. For the first time in my life, I truly felt I belonged somewhere, completely, unconditionally. Summer that year passed quickly, like a cool breeze from Elliott Bay blowing into my new office. From the corner window high up, I could see the Space Needle sparkling under Seattle's sun, symbol of the city I had chosen as home. Every morning, I brewed coffee, sat at my desk, and smiled looking at the wall photos,
Lake Tahoe trip, confetti-filled countdown night in Portland, promotion barbecue with no empty chairs. Life had never felt so full. But sometimes, on quiet evenings when the city sank into drizzle and I sat alone in my apartment overlooking the bay, I still thought about my birth family. Not with old pain, but with cold clarity. I had tried so hard to fit into the picture they pre-drew. The obedient little sister, always yielding, always waiting for next year. But they never truly drew a place for me. The empty chair in Mason's video wasn't accidental. It had existed long ago, only now the world saw it. I realized one simple but life-changing truth. Family isn't just blood. Family is the people who show up when you need them, not when they need you as background for their perfect photo. The people who drive 3 hours in rain to your graduation, bringing sunflowers and homemade cake. The people who fly first class for the first time with eyes shining like children just because you wanted to give them a deserved vacation. The people who sit beside you when drama explodes, not asking why, just saying we're here. Uncle Tom, Aunt Karen, Sophie, they had earned their seats at my table with unconditional love, steady presence, weekend barbecues, late-night Monopoly, hugs without reason. They never demanded I change to deserve it. They just loved me, Alexandra Harper, with all my sharp edges, independence, and old wounds. My birth family, they chose differently. They chose the empty chair over adding one more. They chose public drama over a sincere call. They chose perfect family social media image over their daughter's real happiness. And when consequences came, bonus cuts, lost contracts, fading support from extended relatives, they still didn't look in the mirror. They still blamed me, the drama queen, the victim card. But I no longer hurt. I only felt regret. Regret for what could have been different if they had chosen love over control. Now, looking back at the journey from the girl alone on Christmas Eve to the woman with a soaring career and a true family, I only felt gratitude. Grateful for being strong enough to say enough. Grateful for learning to choose people worthy of my heart. Grateful for finding the real meaning of family. Autumn came. Golden leaves falling on Seattle streets. I opened my laptop and did the familiar. Booked a cabin in Lake Tahoe. This time, a bigger house. 6 bedrooms instead of 5. Small in-basement theater. Larger hot tub. Backyard big enough for a crowd fire pit. I booked 8 nights for Christmas and New Year's next year. First class from Portland. Limo, private chef, personal fireworks. All of it. I texted Uncle Tom. Christmas week again? Bigger cabin this time, room for everyone who matters. He replied instantly, "We wouldn't miss it for the world, kiddo." Sophie sent a voice note screaming, "Alex, I want to learn snowboarding this year and make an even bigger gingerbread house." Aunt Karen added, "Already knitting new Christmas sweaters." I smiled, clicked, confirm booking. Next year, there will be thick snow outside wooden windows again, laughter echoing by the fireplace again, s'mores sticking to Sophie's hands, Aunt Karen's hot cocoa, Uncle Tom's endless stories again. And no empty chairs. Because real family isn't the people you're born with. It's the people you choose, and the people who choose you back every day, with actions, with love, with presence. They have earned their seats at my table forever. And I, finally, have found mine.